It's time to get to the business news now with Nona Peltier. Nona, the super fund, you tell me, has just released its 5-year investment strategy. Now, this is for passive investments. So, break it down for us. What did it find?
So passive investments different from active investments. Active investments are the kind that the super fund will, actively invest in. It could be a housing project, a light rail investment. It could be any number of larger investment types of things. And there is no real limit to what the super fund will invest in. They've got $54 billion of funds under management, and those are the funds that we'll be drawing on in some years from now when we retire. So they have a very long investment horizon, and every 5 years they review their passive investments. And these are the ones that typically sit in, indexed funds. So if you want to invest in the top 50 companies in New Zealand or the top 500 in the United States, that type of thing. And so they decided after a long time of discussing that they were going to just leave things alone and not make any changes. So I guess they thought that their investment strategy that they had in the 5 years before was pretty good, and they're going to stick with it over the next 5 years. And that's not to say it's set in stone. So what they're planning is 80% of those funds in global equities, including 5% in New Zealand equities being shares in our companies, and the balance in bonds. And so overall, the investment strategy isn't, again, set in stone. So if some great opportunities arise, the super fund are willing and able to move some of those monies around. But overall, they're expecting that the passive investments that they've got there will return to their shareholders 6.8% over the next 5 years. And those funds are, of course, shareholders, you and me, and the rest of New Zealand.
Okay, well, on a smaller scale of investment, perhaps, latest research suggests small and medium-sized businesses are going to be investing more on technology.
Yeah, interesting. So COVID has brought up quite a number of issues for small companies and retailers and so forth with the digitization of their business. So people had to accommodate staff working from home, for example, customers not being able to physically access their premises, so online trading and so forth. And what's happened was that typically small businesses will deal with resellers of technology. So let's say you have an Apple computer. You don't go to Apple to buy it. You go down to the retail store and you buy it from them. And then maybe it's your mate or someone you know who will come along and help you set it up. Well, that wasn't possible during the lockdowns. And what these companies found was they had no one to provide any support. So that sort of looked, what can we do? So that, of course, entrepreneurs have created a lot of opportunities for small businesses to get those types of services online. But to attract that kind of support, you're going to have cash flow, and which is going to be really interesting for businesses these days to generate, because it's less about buying laptops and more about getting that support you need when you need it and 24/7. And so that's an interesting bit of change in the way that people are planning their spend in technology. So the story about cash being king, it certainly will be in the future and right now.
So what has been going on the markets today, Nona?
Yeah, it's been kind of a quiet start to the week. We've got Wellington Anniversary Day, of course. And also Australia Day is tomorrow. So a lot of Australians took a long weekend, and that meant the market was a little bit quiet. Nevertheless, though, we started on a strong note. We closed up 66 points today, and that's 0.5% higher at 13,399. Now, the dollar is also a little bit stronger, and that's interesting because there's a lot going on in the world, as with the new administration in the U.S., for example. So our dollar is trading at 72 cents U.S., 93.2 Australian, and 52.6 pence. That's British pence. We can expect to see some movement in the dollar over the rest of the week, with some movements in the U.S. regarding how they're going to take care of their economy and what that's going to mean overall. So, lots of interesting things coming up this week.
Thanks, Nona. Nona Peltier with our business update.